Alright, it's the Zera Jungle Tier List era. And I'll just let people know, the lane thing on the chart means when it comes to the jungler trying to do things to the laner, and the jungle one means how well they deal with the majority of the cast, sort of like the matchups thing. Like, some junglers can't gank most laners and it's pretty depressing, but they can probably beat the crap out of the other jungler, so take that into account. Anyways, first one to talk about is Jace. I moved him up in the tier list because he's awesome and has a square jaw. But that's not the only reason. He's freakishly versatile and can become a semi-carry. I like that a lot. I like that if I get super farmed, I become a full-on carry. If I don't, I become a semi-carry. And if I get really screwed, I become a support. Much like Kale, except he has square jaw. And that gives him a boost. And I'm semi-serious about that, because his character design is a lot more awesome. But he extends his supportive abilities to his team, and he can go from bruiser to, you know, ranged or whatever. The fact that he can stay on range for permanent status is a great thing, boost over KO in my opinion. So he's probably the first true AD jungler we have. I mean AD ranged jungler we have, and he's actually a pretty good damn thief. He can wall hop and, you know, force funny leashes on the enemy's camps, and you drag them around to protect yourself and not get yourself killed. There's like you can shoot red from behind, drag it all the way around you, that kind of stuff, or just jump over the wall and steal blue. He's on the lower end of tier 2 though, because he's got a lot of problems. Mostly speed and sustain, but he's pretty awesome. Use him. Next one, Udyr, finally dropping from, you know, high up in tier 1. Why? Pretty much the game has changed. He's really flash dependent. Pretty much everyone's mobile as all hell, and the top lane is a lot harder to kill than before. Especially someone who like him who gets kited, like Malphite throws his Q, walks away from him, unless the Malphite was, you know, overextended and he would have died regardless of who came to gank him, kind of deal. And come team fights, Udyr just gets kited. He's still, you know, technically a better Shyvana, because, you know, he can deal with other junglers more. He still has some CC. His mobility is not, his damage is not tied to his gap closer, that kind of stuff. But her ultimate her ultimate and passive resistance ends up being better in team fights way later on, and she doesn't rely on mana as much as Udyr does. So he's not, you know, she's not bound to blue buff like he is. So he's lower down because of that, not because Shyvana, mostly because Dr. Mundo, and because the game honestly doesn't like him at the moment. Everyone kites him, he can't gank everybody except if he uses flash, and without it he's just gonna farm all day. Skarner, this one is one I like to tell people about, because they underestimate Skarner so much. I've played Skarner several times over this week and last week, and I'm surprised how many people try to pick a fight with you. It's like the enemy jungler picks a fight with you and they get killed really quickly and very you know, embarrassingly. It's like, did you think you'd win? Oh yeah, because, you know, Skarner got nerfed. Apparently that makes him crap. No, to let you guys know, some of these characters like Trundle and Skarner are used in other countries and in other metas. Just because we don't see it doesn't necessarily make them weaker or worse than others. So I'm kind of tired of telling people, you know what? Trundle is used a lot in China. You guys should go look at the streams sometime. And Skarner's used a lot in Korea, and I know M5's Damien likes him, as far as I heard, because he sent an interview. Anyways, Skarner's still strong, and he freaking hyper snowballs. Meaning, if he gets ahead, if he starts counter jungling and killing people or whatever, he just becomes a freakish monster. If he gets an early Trinity Force because of getting fed, game's pretty much done unless he screws up. And plus, his ultimate's still one of the most awesome things ever in the game. Yeah, I know Quicksilver Sash ruins it, but if the apparent nerf of a Quicksilver Sash that they said we might remove suppression removal from the Quicksilver Sash, then Skarner's going to become, you know, a million times better. But that's just it. And now the next one is one champion people have been waiting for, Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao. Okay, in short, he doesn't change at all. He's pretty much the same Xin Zhao as before. They just kind of gave him more damage in exchange for his sustain early on. So he's in as sustain as he used to be, but he definitely hits harder and will not scale down as the game goes on. Like, old Xin Zhao in the jungle had a problem where he actually becomes weaker in the jungle. Even if you start building him Doran's Blaze and Wriggles, like he feels so bad. I mean, he's still right now a gank or die jungler. Like, if you don't gank, you lose and you become kind of useless. But he has a lot, easier time, making up for not ganking. He can still just farm and do some ganks and fight people. He's still slow. He's still got, so he's still constrained to, burning on his abilities, aka mana. But he's a lot better. He will have damage. The items he gets will actually scale with him, unlike before. So in the end, he's only slightly better. He's not much different, but he's better. So he went up in the tier list. Oh, and the ultimate's pretty cool. It's not really overtly useful for ganking, because you're mostly gonna either dash into them or already start stabbing them before you use it. But it can do some tricks sometimes, not overly. Yeah, me. The next one is a Mumu. Now a Mumu has been making quite a splash. Well, like I kind of mentioned it already before, but now that people are using him, I get to fight him, and I get to be the one to go fuck. Like when I use them, and when I use them in my games, it's like, yeah, I can see that he's strong. I'm destroying the enemy team or whatever, but that's not enough. I need to fight him so I can see more, and I can see if oh, this is what counters him, this is what doesn't counter him, this doesn't seem to be working, this could work, blah blah blah. Now that I get tossed around against an Amumu, I get to test out more things, and it's coming to a pretty damn painfully obvious. It's like, he's freaking scary as he builds tank hybrid AP. So it's like, you can't pick a fight with him if he's got his ultimate up, because that means you're gonna get your teammates killed. If his ultimate is down, then go at it. Go and try to kill him right now. Kill other things. You can't counter jungle him as much before, because if he goes AP-ish, it doesn't matter. He's got sustain, and he's got damage, and he's got even faster clearing speed. So AP Amumu, tanky hybrid AP Amumu is amazing right now. Build them like a regrowth, Kage's lucky pick. Eventually, I've seen them with death grasp, and I'm like, Deathfire. It's like, holy crap, that's really painful. Q blah blah blah. Anyways, Nunu, like I said last time, I put him lower in tier 1 because he's really strong. But I wasn't gonna go and say, oh my god, he's really high up yet. I had to give him more time, and more time I gave him. Holy crap, yeah, old school counter jungling still works out well. Mostly because Nunu is annoying to deal with, and no one will catch him, and he'll just walk away laughing at your sorry ass. Especially if he's Nunu boy, you gotta spam that laugh. Makes you powerful. And early dragons, like again, remember, not a lot he isn't really different than he was pre-nerf, because he still has the same quote-unquote issues. But now that he gets to bite dragon for full 100% damage, he gets to wreck that thing. So I've seen some people max consume up, get consume up to rank 3 at level 5 and just solo dragon. Or they'll go and just force a lane out, like go bottom lane, punch them down to death, and go to dragon with their teammates and just burst down that. Not burst down, destroy that dragon. Get it, boom, and control dragon all the time. And since Nunu's a great oracle carrier, you just control the map, run around, get dragon whenever it's up. You effectively try to get the game to end, or get your team such a great advantage that making up for the fact that you weren't exactly the best sort of pick that could have been. Now Evelyn's another one that people have been asking for, and I'll just tell you right now, she's crap. Freaking, like, holy crap, I hate this new Evelyn. There's good things about her, but I like the old Evelyn more, because the stealth allowed you to, do crazy ass shit. This new stealth she's pretty useless right now, and this is why Riot's gonna buff her already. I'm pretty sure they released her underpowered in order to make sure she doesn't wreck certain elos or whatever. Her ultimate's too high cooldown, her stealth takes too long to get into stealth, her damage is pretty pitiful outside of her abilities, and her abilities kind of still also don't deal so much damage. She doesn't have great chasing because she'll use her W to close the gap, but she has no actual CC outside exhaust and red, and if she has none of those, then there's kaput. So she's really got nothing. In short, she's actually a weaker Shyvana. She's a weaker Shyvana. That's kind of funny. And you'll say, oh, but her ultimate has CC. Well, Shyvana's ultimate also has CC, but you kind of don't use it to start most ganks. You use it to sort of to closing the gap again. And Evelyn, you kind of use it to start the gank, but they'll probably react before you actually get to them, and then they'll either kill you or just walk away. Sure, your teammate will come in and help, but it's kind of sad that she has to rely so much on her teammate to win. A lot of other ones that pack even more damage will actually do the damn thing. Though she becomes a master end game in the sense of damage and running around and cutting people. Like, that's about the only one of the few positive points of this, I guess. But I don't think it's worth it. I want to see what they do with it after. I mean, do with her after they buff her some more, because her ultimate needs a lower cooldown. Definitely, it's a great ultimate actually, but it just needs tweaking in the numbers. And she may be fast, but she still dies in the jungle. Even with a leash, she will almost come out dead. So I actually go cloth armor on her. I can't help it. Zira. Yay for another AP jungler. I know they announced Diana's going to be an AP jungler, but we'll see about that. Anyways, Zira. There's really not much to actually say about her. It's like she can use her plants to tank, which is a form of sustain. She's AP jungler, so that means she's relying on blue for the first clear, and the second clear it's just kind of like Fiddlesticks Smith that he needed for the second time. And she's pretty fast. She can't deal with other junglers 1v1. Holy crap. Just avoid fighting other junglers or you will die. Especially if it's like Olaf or, if it's Olaf or Nunu. If it's Nunu, you just might as well bend over. When it comes to ganking, though, she's a beast. Her E is one of the most awesome abilities I've seen for ganking. Just throw that thing down. Nothing can block it. You'll snare them from a long range, and then just start pelting them, and your teammates will come in and kill them. When you have your ultimate, man, it's a Leona ultimate, basically. It's another jungle Leona. So there's not much to say on that regard, but and also her little seeds. Her seeds can be used either to, throw plants to help more damage or slow, but I like to use them like, they're going to try running, put a seed in the bush, now I'll know where you are. Now I'll be able to attack you through the walls and you can't try to juke around, that kind of stuff. So, if you go to jungle with her, you're more utility than actual damage, so you build her, GP 10s, you build her Rylai Scepter or Health or Mono or whatever gives your team most abilities. Either way, she seems viable, not competitive, but definitely a choice that won't destroy your team. Just make sure you substitute your tank in another role.